Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to our Shabbat services here at Temple Sinai. I'm Rabbi Benjamin Zober, and glad to be back with
Rabbi Sarah Zober, and welcome.
Wherever you are, whether you are here with us or out there in internet land, we are so glad that you have chosen to join us for the welcoming of Shabbat. As we do most every Shabbat, we are praying out of Mishkan Tefillah, a Reform Siddur. If you are virtual and you would like a Siddur to look at, you can download a copy of tonight's program at sinaireno.org/live. It will have everything you need. We begin with a reading which can be found on page 3 in your books, all the way down at the bottom of the page. Help me perfect my ways of loving and caring. Inspire me to make myself whole so that I may honor your name and create a world of justice and peace. We're actually going to turn to the previous page for the lighting of the candles, and it is my honor to welcome up our new friend, Patricia Solomon, to light our Shabbat lights.
There's your striker right there. Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lecha. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. We turn to page 10, and together we sing Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh of HaRachaman, Yedid Nefesh of HaRachaman, Meshochavtecha El Ritzonecha, Meshochavtecha Yadadadai El Ritzonecha Yarut Avtecha Kemoaya Yishachavei Yadadadai El Muhadaraka Yedi
ישב הרחמן משוכבתך אל רצונך משוכבתך ינננננננ אל רצונך.
We turn now to page 20 for Lechado D. This evening we will be singing verses
1, 2, 5, and 9. He always looks at me like, are we going to do that other one? 1, 2, 5, and 9, as is usual. And on the 9th and final verse, please rise in body or in spirit as you are able. Turn and face our exterior door or yours if you're at home. And we bow together as we say, Boi Kala, and invite the Sabbath bride and our extra soul into our hearts and homes this evening.
Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lech Adoni likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor b'divorecha tishmi'anu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shemo tiferet b'li tehillah. Lech Adoni likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lech Adoni likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekon ha'baracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tefila. Lech Adoni likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lech Adoni likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari ba'ora, uri shidaberi kod Adonai alayich nidla. Lech Adoni likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lech Adoni likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'betzola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, Lech Adoni likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lech Adoni likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
You may be seated. We turn now to page 26. Join together for Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
B'chayechon u'byom echon u'b'chayei lechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala u'bizman kariv
V'meru
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam lo me'almaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitareh v'yitaral shemei dekudesha
B'richu
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata.
Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma.
V'meru.
Amen.
Baruch Hu can be found on page 28. If you are able, we invite you to please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam
We continue in the English on page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzivaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Ahavat Olam can be found on page 32.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadata Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbenu U'kameinu nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratacha U'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki em chayenu Ve'orach yameinu U'lahem negei yomam v'layla Negei yomam v'layla Ni'avat ha'al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael
Shema can be found on the next page.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Abad.
You may be seated. We continue on page 36 together with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech u'shachbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha Uchtavtam amzuzot betecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti adchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We turn to page 39. We read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Mi chamocha can be found on the very next page.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malchutocha ra'u banecha, Mokei hayam lifnei Moshe, zelianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed. V'nemar kifed Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
We turn to page 43. We read together in the middle of the page. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Kol Amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim. Yismachu is our next song. The words can be found on page 44.
Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Bekorei oneg, Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Mekadashei, Mekadashei Shavi, Kulam Yismachu ve'yitzamru metuvecha, Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Ve'hashrei oneg, ve'korei oneg, Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Ve'hashvi ratzita bo, ratzita bo v'kidasho, Emdat yamim oto karata, Zecher l'maseh b'reshit. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Bekorei oneg, bekorei oneg, Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu b'malchutcha, shomerei Shabbat.
We turn now to page 46 for the Amidah. If you are able, please rise. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Agita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanorah, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh HaKol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav leHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach Muriv HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Sohomer Noflim Berofech Oholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Mishenei Afar, Michamocha Al-Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. The top of page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Continue silently to page 62. Please be seated when you are finished or when you feel ready.
עושה שלום, שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ואחות ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמן. עושה שלום, שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. ועל כל ישראל, amen.
At this time, we turn to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our Torah service this evening. We begin in the middle of page 245. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. At this time, it is our great honor to invite up Viviana and Ryan to open our ark and carry our Torah this evening. We continue on page 246. Please rise.
Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Udavar Adonai mirushalayim.
Page 248.
Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai iti, Oneramama Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai Hagedula, V'Hagevura, V'Tiferet, V'Hanetzach, V'Hahod. Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Adonai hamamacha, V'yamid na'aseh lechol rosh. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Thank you both. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. You may be seated.
This evening, we are in Parshat Noach, hence the dress covered in sloughs. For those of you who have not commented about my slough dress. We are going to be reading from the very beginning of Parshat Noach, Genesis 6, verses 9 through 14. It is my pleasure to invite up Jeff Gingold. Ya'amod Yaakov Nachum ben V'chil Nisan v'Raziel Aliyah. It's up to you. You can leave it on or take it off. It's up to you. Let me show you where we are.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Ela toldot Noach. Noach ish tzadik tamim haya b'dorotav. Et ha'Elohim hitalech Noach. ויולד נוח 3 בנים, את שם, את חם ואת יפת. ותיסחט הארץ לפני האלוהים, ותמלא הארץ חמס. וירא אלוהים את הארץ, והנה ניסחת, כי השחיתה כל בשר את דרכו על הארץ. ויאמר עליהם לנוח, קץ כל בשר בא לפני, כי מולאה הארץ חמס מפניהם, והנני משחיתם את הארץ. עשה לך תיבת עצי גופר, קינים תעשה את התיבה, וחפרת אותה מבית ומחוץ מכופר.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you, Chris. This is my dad's yahrzeit, so thank you very much.
Mishaberach avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless you as you have come up to Torah in honor of God and Torah. May you merit from the Holy One of blessing protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, and from any illness, minor or serious. May God send blessing and success in your every endeavor. And together with all Israel, let us say, Amen. Thank you. We think also of those in our community who need a bit of healing, whether it is of body or of mind or of spirit. At this time, we are thinking of Wendy Alderman, Kathy Bartlett, Tracy Bartlett, Sue Burkhammer, Neil Calder, Laura Cohen, Alan Gordon, Stephen Gould, Marlene Harris, Harvey Higdon, Laura Jawad, Kevin Knox, Harav Miriam Bashifra Vipinchas, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya Batsara, Tim Ober, Judy Ramos, Peter Ramos, Ray Riker, Shirley Rutkovitz, Sarah Batchava, Marianne Schenker, Jessica Wadatz, Leonard Weinberg, Bobby Wells, Asher Zelech, everyone affected by the coronavirus and the Jewish and other communities of Ukraine. If there are other names that you wish to add, I invite you to do so. If you are online and you're comfortable, to please share those names in the comments. And if you are present here tonight, please do so when my eyes meet yours.
Paul Pelosi and Gary Ginsberg.
Masha Rivka Powell.
Tracy Davis, Joanna Peterson, Leroy Olson.
Dan Garfinkel and Charlie Davis. Jack Davis and Larry Seymour.
C.J. Hurst and Liam McClain.
For everyone in need of our care, our song of healing, Misha Berach, can be found on page 253. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBrecha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habrecha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Laura, we
It's
can't
our
read
honor
your
to invite
handwriting.
up, I think, Laura and Laura for Hagba and Galila.
Am I doing Hagwa? I am happy. I'm happy to do Hagwa. You're good. We all rise.
Page 200.
What was it? Yeah. Page 252. Will you help me unroll it? Thank you. It's a problem with Bereshit. It just doesn't want to unroll. Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biyad Moshe. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. We turn to page 257 and we read responsively. When Torah entered the world, freedom entered it. The whole Torah exists only to establish peace.
Its highest teaching is love and kindness. What is hateful to you, do not do to any person.
That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. Those who study Torah are the true guardians of civilization.
Honoring one another, doing acts of kindness, and making peace. These are our highest duties. But the study of Torah is equal to them all because it leads to them all.
Let us learn in order to teach. Let us learn in order to do. Page 256. Ki lekach tov natati lahem Torati al ta'azovu et chaim hi lama chazikim ba betom cha meushar derachah darcheno lechol netivotecha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chodesh, Chodesh Yomeinu, Chodesh Yomeinu, Kekedem. You may be seated.
Sir Isaac Newton was one of the greatest thinkers and minds of all time. And he lived in an age when you could literally be a know-it-all. One person could master all that we understood of science and the arts, of history and the world. And as great a mind as he had, were you to transport him to today, he would be utterly and completely lost. Imagine him seeing someone with a cell phone and trying to explain how it works, something that most of us have no way of doing ourselves, and then trying to explain what we can do with it, all of its functions and its features, and then perhaps most vexingly, that despite having the entire world of knowledge at our fingertips, we instead use it to argue with strangers on Facebook. The same would probably go for cars, for computers, for light bulbs, and countless other things that we take for granted. So as brilliant as Newton was, imagining him in our world today, we realize that it is all relative. And it is not just technology that has advanced over time. We make improvements in all sorts of areas, including our values. Chief Justice Earl Warren once spoke of evolving standards of decency that mark the progress of a maturing society. What it takes to be a good person changes over time. And it is with this in mind that we turn to our friend this week, a man by the name of Noah. Noah is, as we heard, an ish tzadik tamim v'dorotav, a righteous man, blameless in his age. Blameless in his age. What on earth does that mean? Rashi, our first stop in our biblical interpretation, offers us not one, but two suggestions. The first is that Noah would have been righteous in any time. Put him up against the greats, against Abraham, Isaac, dare I say, Moses, and Noah would still come out as a righteous person. While this is great for Noah, it doesn't really help us very much. Certainly, we should strive to be the most moral person in all of history, but in reality, we will probably fall a bit short. In part, because what is moral to us was once unthinkingly immoral. And what we consider to be good, it was once forbidden. And then when we think what eventually might be, something outside of our norms of morality and possibility today will eventually become quite commonplace. But right now, we just don't have the minds to imagine it. How much of our text in the Torah is about preserving community and value, all in our little clans and tribes? Could they ever have imagined a society as global and as connected as the one that we live in? And if not, how could they possibly think about what we think of as proper and polite for welcoming others? Could they ever have envisioned a society like this? And what would they have thought our morals could be? If we are to take anything from this, it should be that the kindness that we do extend to ourselves is kindness that will come when we inevitably fail. There are times when we do not live up to even our own values right now. And we need to have a bit of kindness to forgive ourselves and some strength as well. And as times change and as our values and our ethics sometimes fall out of step with progress, we need to redouble our efforts, especially where we find ourselves missing the mark. Rashi's other explanation is that Noah was righteous for his time. We come into the story having heard that the people of the earth have become corrupt and sinful. Compared to them, Noah was a pretty righteous guy. But in this case, compared to someone like Abraham, Noah was no competition. This is much kinder in a way to Noah, but a bit more fair as well. Every generation gets to learn from the last. Hopefully, we see each generation becoming more understanding and more tolerant. The Jewish values that we live by came and developed well after Noah. So who are we to blame him for not living up to each and every one of them? Us, on the other hand, we've had a little bit of time to practice. But we are not perfect. And past generations before us were also far from perfect. When we look to our own country, we see that it was founded on a revolutionary principle that all men are created equal. But we understand how this idea changes over time. Even as the founding fathers articulated this enlightened and radical idea, they did not truly mean it. All men did not include women and did not even include all men. This is not to say that those ideas are worthless. Far from it. They represent a promise, an ideal, a future that we are still building. The Torah offers us the same. Our values, our morals are all contained in those words and those pages. But amid calls to love our neighbors as ourselves, to welcome the stranger, we also encounter xenophobia and calls for genocide. All of our texts, both civic and religious, have not necessarily aged so well in every spot. Many of the values look horribly out of date. And that is why it is important, why it is essential that we remember that they are of their generation, as are we. We are all products of our own time. When we understand and even celebrate as right and as good, even tolerant or righteous, and recognize that those things don't always measure up in our current day, we understand that what we have to do if we want to honor those values is change. We are not bad people if we grew up or learned values that became out of date. What is bad is failing to bring ourselves up to date. Think for a moment about how you were raised. How were you taught to think of other people, of people who had a different religion, a different race or nationality? How did you see people treat men as opposed to women? How were you taught to refer to other people? What words did you use to describe someone else? How were other people treated? How many of those things were you taught and told were polite and proper? How much of what you experienced then would you still feel comfortable experiencing now? How much of the behavior which people prided themselves in as moral still feels that way? Racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, homophobia, and countless other forms of bigotry are not new. Nothing has changed except what we tolerate. And it will continue to change. To live up to our values, to be the sort of kind and moral people that we want to be, we have to grow along with what being kind and moral means in our time. If we are to be righteous like Noah, who was blameless in his age, a man of his time, we need to think and consider and change. We probably cannot ever consider ourselves blameless in our age, but certainly, if we are committed and we listen and we try and do the best of what our morals call for us to do, we can be righteous in our time. Shabbat Shalom. At this time, we turn to the Aleinu, which can be found at the bottom of page 282. If you are able, I invite you to please rise. And let's see, do we have, yes, we do. Daryl and Vita Dworkin, if you would be so kind as to come up and open our ark doors.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 285. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Page 287.
למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Thank you. You may be seated. We think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. At this time, we remember Catherine Linsky Foley, Lucille Alexander, Stanley Browdy, Edna Bailey, Jenna Deborah Denif Cassell, Will Spiegelman, Leonard Fusari, James Holly, Ken Hecht, Roberta Small-Reich, Edward Gingold, Cookie Carolyn Javinsky, Carl Weinberg, Al Grossman, Jeff Blank, Richie Zorn. In this Shabbat, we commemorate the yard sites of Frida Kempler, Benjamin Friedlander, Jacob Pinschauer, Leonard Seidowitz, Faina Goose, Charlotte Muriel Rubin, Charles Gingold, Augusta L. Goldstein, Rita Lee, Ray Bassmiller, Sylvia Nurkind, Solveig Rosella Endal Michelson, Myrna Lazar, and Esther Elbaum Weingarten. If there are other names that you wish to share online, I encourage you in the comments. And if you are present here today, when my eyes meet yours. For all of those names and the ones we hold in our heart, Kadisha Tome can be found on page 294. If it is your custom, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach lirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei dekudisha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. Laura, I wonder if I can invite you up to regale us with some announcements this evening.
Hello. Please join us after the conclusion of tonight's service for a to-go neg or a to-linger outside the exterior doors neg, which is harder to say. But please do, if you're joining us virtually, stay on to join the Yisma Zoom afterwards, which is always very fun. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., do join us on Zoom for study. They're up to Genesis 48:15, which, all things considered, is quite amazing. Good job. Only took 3 years, so saith the rabbi. There is no Sinai school this weekend, which means there's also no family tefillah service this weekend because of Nevada Day. So we are doubling up next Friday. There will be a 5:30 p.m. Tat Shabbat service. We'll be bringing our small one. Please bring yours. And a normal 7:30 Kabbalat Shabbat service, which we would love to see you at. Stick around on Saturday morning. Next Saturday, November 5th, we are celebrating the bar mitzvah of Chase Levine. Should be quite wonderful. We've heard glowing things from his tutor, and we're very excited to welcome him into Jewish adulthood. Next Sunday, Sinai School and Family Tefillah are back on, both at 9:30. Please be careful that you do not arrive at the wrong time because daylight savings is upon us, or rather away from us. And at 1 p.m. next Sunday, please join us for the Bookmarks series. They're bringing in David Michael Slater to speak, and all of our library events are just wonderful and well produced. So please come for that. Last but not least, Tuesday, November 8th, the rabbis will be around at 12 for lunch with the rabbis. There's no such thing as a free lunch, but if you bring yours, you can ask them any questions you like, and they usually answer. So thank you all so much.
But not in the sukkah.
We're not going to be in the sukkah. Actually, it's election day, so please be sure that you vote before you come to us, or make a plan to vote immediately after you come for lunch with the rabbis. Otherwise, I will spend the entire lunch heckling you about why you're not registered to vote, because we have same-day registration in the state of Nevada, I believe. Right. Good. So guess what? You'll get a rabbi mom if you don't have your voting sticker. We also have an Anglican church that worships on Sunday mornings in our social hall, and they are going to be doing a Veterans Day soup and chili luncheon, and they have invited all of us to join them Temple Sinai members and Christ Anglican Church members to honor veterans from both congregations. So please, 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 RSVP. I've got info for RSVPing. I believe stuff is on the website as well.
Be, yeah.
Yes, things should be on the website as well. You can always go to sinai-reno.org if all of these are going too fast for you. But if you have a veteran that you love, please RSVP, bring them and let us honor them at the chili luncheon. One last thing, I have been asked to pass along a thank you to everyone who brought food to Tracy Bartlett. We have been missing Tracy on Friday nights. She says thank you to everyone, and especially to those who have brought food. So Tracy, I did my due diligence. Our closing song can be found on page
323.
Thank you. Oh, right. Don't even notice I'm wearing it anymore. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kochem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Please join us for either the to-go neg or
Oh, wait.
for our yisma. Oh, right, we're doing Kiddush and Motzi. That way we can do it all together. If you'd like to follow along, you can follow along on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon hinachilanu, zikaron b'maaseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom tehillah l'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu b'charta, ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava u'vratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. But I made him drink Manischewitz at the house because we ran out of grape juice. So he's like relishing the grape juice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom b'tei avon, everyone.